This episode of Ars Cryptotica is brought to you by Uptick Project, the NFT world in your hand. Uptick is a decentralized mobile app built on top of the Uptick protocol. Manage your NFT-based digital assets with a focus on entertainment, sports, and the creative industry. Whatever your need for NFTs, Uptick has you covered. All right. Welcome back to Ars Cryptotica. In episode 10, we will talk to a representative from Twinci, which calls itself the first NFT social marketplace. Henry, can you take us away?
Sure. All right. So here we are in episode 10. We have with us today April Paice from Twinci.io, the NFT platform, aiming to be the Instagram of Web 3.0 one day. There is the first and growing social marketplace on the Binance Smart Chain. I myself have worked with this platform, have minted and sold several NFTs. I've had a great experience over there. We wanted to get representatives from the company on the show to go over, all the ups and downs, ins and outs, vision, midterm, short-term, long-term goals, everything that we can possibly squeeze out of this lemon today, we're going to get. And so let me just welcome you, April, and thank you for joining us. And I'll give you a moment here just to sort of settle in and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for the introduction. So hello, guys. I'm April Paice. I'm the PR manager of Twinci. So the Twinci project is quite new. We only got mainnet since March of this year, but we have worked in the crypto quite long before that. And then we are a team, just a small team, and then just got more and more growing. And then we just decided, NFT is a really good thing for artists and also for users, and we want to do something new. So that's why we got Twinci, and it's aiming to be the first NFT social marketplace. The point is not just the marketplace. As you can see, there are so many marketplaces already, and we are aiming to be the social marketplace, which means we are a social network also, and which we think is the standout point.
Very nice. So perhaps you could elaborate a little bit on that concept of social marketplace and tell me a little bit about what are the functional built into the design of the platform now and perhaps in the future that makes it or defines it in that way, a social marketplace.
For sure. So we can just start with the name. You can see we have the combination, the twin and C. So the name C is actually from Da Vinci. So it means art. And twin is from Twitter, actually. So we got the inspiration from the social and the art combination together. And then we got the platform. For the main function, in the platform, we have the 4 featured marketplace. So in the marketplace, we enable users to create. It means to create the NFT. Then they can put it on sale, trading. So it means trading. And so that's the main features of the marketplace. We also have, when creating, users can put the NFT in many categories, and the NFT itself will have the very special thing about the NFT itself. Like it can't ever be tampered. It's very authentic.
Yeah.
So it's like Henry, right? You created some NFT, so you can see the NFT has your name.
Yes.
And it will always have your name. So it means that if the user buy an NFT, they will know for sure it is from the one they want to buy. And also we also have like the lifetime royalties. So as you can see that artists before, if they sell their artwork, they only get one time of the profit. Like they sell it and then that's all. But in here, it means after that, forever, every time your artwork is sold on the platform, you can get a certain percent of the royalty. So you are the original creator. So it means you have the right to get the profit even after this. Like the guy who bought it from you, they sell your art again at a very high price and you get a certain percent from it. That's fair for artists. And that's like the basic function of the marketplace. And the social function is going to be released very soon, I think this month, because we are already testing. For the social, so the users will be able to have a news feed like in the social network. They can see each other's status like in the NFT. So the NFT is like the status, and they can like or comment or react on it. And then when you like someone NFT, you can also choose to donate them with a certain amount of token. So it's like the artist will get more profit, not just by selling the arts, but also by creating the arts that are favored by many people. And it's like a way that the fans can donate to their idols. Also, the social function will enable the users to be able to interact with others. They can comment on others' NFT, can react to it, and they can also make friends. Like Henry can make friends with the ones who share the same viewpoints of arts, and he can also coach for the younger artists. It's like a social network that bring all the artists and users together. And that's our vision.
Now that's a lovely thought, actually. One of the things that I have recommended to several other platforms, and I think we've discussed it a little bit with you, is the lack of ability on most, if not all, platforms currently to interact in real time between buyers and sellers, or just people window shopping, or people the curious, that there is nothing in platform anywhere yet where you can do this in real time. So I think that's going to be a nice sort of trend-setting step forward that Twincie's taking. I think it's much desired in the space. Most of the communications are happening outside of these platforms now. You're seeing the explosion of community spaces on Twitter, in all of the social networks, outside of NFT, but like, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, they all, even Telegram. I mean, Telegram is instrumental for Twincie and instrumental for, all of the platforms, because that's where their communities are discussing things. But for that to move directly onto the platform where things can happen in real time, I think is a plus. And I certainly congratulate you for having, that vision and bringing it forward. I look forward to it. So now, when you say it's being tested right now, where exactly is it being tested?
That's the part of the developer team, so I don't really know, but they are telling me that it's going to be ready very soon. So I can just brag with others about it, and then they will take care of the tech function.
Now that you are in mainnet, this is going to come on as a sort of like sudden addition to the mainnet, or is it going to take a baby step forward and maybe be only available to a certain smaller group at first to test it in the community?
We already got a group of testers. Like like the professional tester and developer are working on it. So we will be release the managed version of that for upgrading the platform. It will take maybe some hours to do it only. And then the users can just experience that, and we will, from that, upgrade the version.
So perhaps you could give me a little bit of background to the origins of Twincie.io. Now, you had mentioned that previous to Twincie's launch, the company, whatever the entity behind Twincie, was already in the crypto space. Could you give me a little bit of background on that?
So it's just a small team of crypto nerds. And then some of the team, especially in the dev team, they've been like there for like, I don't know, forever. And they just got together, and I also got here by a friend, Robert, and Arthur. He's like some of the team court, he's in the back, so maybe you guys won't see them a lot, but they also work very hard since many years before. And then the idea of the NFT has been in the head since early last year, and they started building the platform. And then the team just got bigger. And at March of this year, we got the mainnet for the first time.
And now, was there a corporate entity previous to Twincie, or is Twincie the sort of birth of the corporate entity among this group of people, the smallish team, the dev team, etc.? Did they come together and sort of corporatize around Twincie, so there wasn't an entity prior to Twincie?
Oh, so it's actually just a startup company, and it's not really famous at all. And we are actually looking for investor and backers.
That's interesting. Now, what is the approach to investment backing that you guys are taking? Are we looking at seed funding, crypto investment companies, investor angels? What is the formula for you guys?
So we are actually looking for someone who can give us more advices and for like marketing. So as you can see, that marketing is a really important part of the app. We don't need them to invest a huge amount of money on us, but we need them to direct us. Like, we are a team, but yes, many people have a lot of experience, but we also need experience and advices from bigger company or firm or any bigger project play a big role in helping us to develop more, and especially in marketing.
It sounds like you're looking for sort of like a mentor from the space that is coming from the space with more experience prior to, or say more experience than the team has developing in the space now. You said your primary interest is in learning the ins and outs of marketing to the space with regards to NFT. Is that correct?
Yes. And as you can see that the market right now is not very positive, as you can see, right? And like the game is more manipulated by the big hands, and we are small and we are young, and that's why we need some guidance to help us, like in giving advices and giving more direction. We are really proud and feeling very confident of the product that we are having. The dev team is doing a great job. They can manage to let everything go smoothly, but for the branding and marketing, we are still young and we need more guidance on that. We are already having many partners and they are helping us a lot, and many big names like World Finance or AppSwap, or we are having a really fun marketing activity with O3 Labs, O3 Network next week. And that's gonna attract a lot of attention. But that's just like the activities. and we need someone to be a strong backers for us, just like that.
You know, one of the things in all of my engagements and networking across Paice and all social media platforms that I've really come to understand about the NFT marketplace is that as it stands now, it is being held up on the shoulders of the artists. And by that, I mean that all of these NFT marketplaces exist regardless of their long-term goals. They exist in the moment because of the artists that flocked there to either sell or buy or a combination of both. The NFT marketplace for art is right now surviving on the interest of the long-standing crypto community. So the crypto community is made up primarily of investor types, more than not of whom are speculators. So speculation weighs heavily right now on the success, failure, growth, or lack thereof of individual platforms, the marketplace as a whole. And you know what I think is imperative for all market platforms to realize is how much dependent they are upon these courageous, risk-taking, selfless creators who have come in, and also to never forget that who's buying up the work right now is not the traditional art collector. It's not the top 250 collectors that, you know, shop at Sotheby's and Christie's, but it is the speculator, crypto investor who has made a small fortune or is sitting on bags of this or that, and they're now interested in the new thing. So is this healthy? I don't think so, not long term. I think it needs to evolve, and it will, but that's where we're at. And so when I'm out in these spaces and I get into the Twitter community spaces where some of the top artists, as far as I'm concerned, in the whole space are gathering and, you know, supporting each other emotionally and intellectually, and helping be a soundboard for each other's ideas and building up each other's, you know, confidence in their projects. And from that, you know, comes sales as these artists get to know each other and find each other's work. And I would be willing to say that probably 95% of all sales in the marketplace right now are happening between artists buying each other's work at reasonable prices, because right now, you know, let's be honest, the market is incredibly young. I mean, we are talking about, you know, birth was 4 months ago, kind of in general. And now you have this infant that's, you know, laying on its back in the crib of, you know, DeFi. And so I guess I wanted to say that because one of the things I see that some platforms are doing a better job of than others is realizing that. And by that, I mean, there needs to be a focus within platforms, not just from the pure traditional marketing standpoint of like marketing that you sell art, but within your platform, showing deep respect, concern, and support for the people, the artists that are making your project possible. And I think that is a foundational lesson for all platforms to learn. They'll learn at different paces, and the faster that you learn how to boost up the steam, the confidence, and the sort of salability of your artists that have come to Twincie, they will then be more confident in bringing Twincie to a larger audience. Because, you know, when an artist sells a work, it you know, that's an endorphin rush, sure, but it also sort of, it validates them personally, their life. So artists are these vulnerable creatures, and most artists are, you know, on a place in the emotional spectrum that most of society is not. They tend to be, you know, myopic in their obsession with their trade, and, you know, sometimes to a fault and to the exception of the rest of their life. You know, this is a, you know, a famously well documented fact about, you know, art communities is, to a certain extent, that's what their lifeblood, you know. So it's different. I just think this is something to consider. And let me just sum it all up. The business community has come to this space. You're part of a business community. Twincie is, you know, so is Uptick, so is Refinable, so is Foundation, so is Super Rare, so is, you know, Known Origin, and on and on and on and on and on. These are all businesses that have, and CEOs and CTOs and their teams have come to a space that is populated right now by a different animal. You're not going to, you can't market it like you do sneakers. You can't market it like you do a data service. You can't market it like you do anything really that exists in the world of business. I don't have all the answers, but I certainly have all the sense and sensibility that if it's not catered to, that any particular platform that ignores that will probably struggle. So I just want to lay that out there, since you sort of opened this whole conversation with needing guidance. In me being in almost every platform at the moment, having interviewed multiple CEOs in these other companies, and being deep into the spaces across social media, that's what I'm seeing. And I'll hand it back to you and see what you think about that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that our business exists thanks to the artist. And it's also what we are thinking about now, like to increase the users that are not artists but collectors and the art lover. So you can see that it's a very young thing. The NFT thing for the traditional art is still exists and very popular within the offline thing, like buying the real object being set up by an NFT. But for the first thing, maybe the COVID-19, the epidemic has bring some kind of advantages to this technology by that everyone now is encouraged to stay in. Then they started to maybe change to different kind of art trading, maybe to NFT. And to encourage this, as you can see, there's so many marketplace out there and many artists, but the buyers or sometimes the clients or something, they need it physically. So we are trying to attract more of them. First thing, by making the platform is a non-fee platform. We don't charge any fee right now, no corporation fee or service fee. They just need to pay for gas on the chain, the BSC chain, and the gas for BSC, you know, that is very low. So that's the way we're trying to encourage. Yes.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Now, there's a great deal of competition.
Yeah, that's like other platforms right now. You can see they will charge their commission or maybe the service or the corporation fee for using their platform. We don't. And to like make some noises for the NFT, like to attract the attention of the people who are not in the field, we are trying to contacting some KOLs, like very famous celebrity in some countries. And we hope that by letting them creating the NFT and selling on the platform will attract more buyers from outside to the field, and other artists will get beneficial from that as well. And for the younger artists, for the new artists, we have the ambassador program that we launched like last month. So we will pay, like get some allowance for them to be active on the platform. So some of the artists that we see, they are very potential, but maybe they are not got a lot of fans yet. So we are sponsoring them to do their job, to do what they are good at, to selling their artworks. So whether they can sell their artworks or not, they will get a certain allowance for every month. When we do this for maybe 1 or 2 months, to see if it gives good results, and for also for the increasing the users for the artists, because we do know that many of the purchasing activities that artists buying other artists' works. So we are trying to increase the number of the real users who have the need to buy the arts by introducing the referral program. So for the referral program, we expect a huge number of users coming by awarding them with the token. This is called Foxy token, and that token is awarded whenever the users make any buying or selling activity. So it will encourage the people coming to the platform, trade the NFT, and like buying or selling the NFT, and then get the token. And the token, we will provide a liquidity that can be used to trade, like they can get the real value very soon. We are adding the pool, the liquidity. And also, yes, that Foxy token will be also used for staking for real value. And we're also working on the gaming tab. So you can see that gaming, it is a very hot industry and it will attract a lot of attention, and we will use the NFT for that. So later, some of the NFT or some of the artists cooperating with us can have their NFT as for game. And the gaming tab will attract users and the NFT will have more usage.
Now, a couple of things I'd like to bring up around what you just said. So one, let's just start with the gaming. Before you answer, let me go over a couple of points. Have you thought about the idea of sponsoring? Now, I could tell you right now, I could walk into the next room and ask my 12-year-old who his favorite YouTube gamer is. He could rattle off his top 10. And, you know, a lot of these gamers are sitting on millions of subscribers. And I don't think to secure their sponsorship for Twincie would be cost prohibitive. And that might go a long way as you were, you know, sponsoring gamers. You know, you're sponsoring 1 million subscribers at the same in that same moment. So I'm sure that's something that you're talking about or you have thought about, but there's that. The other thing is, and I think this is important and nobody's doing it yet, that collectors, right now, the collector is just a term that is thrown out for somebody that buys art. In the traditional art world, the collector comes with an enormous amount of prestige, you know, from the market level of the gallery and the collector list and the VIP guest list, etc., on up to the prestigious access to the floor at Sotheby's and Christie's as a collector. Right now, the NFT space is sort of not quite caught on to the fact that the collector is a different animal. The collector, I should say, that we're ultimately trying to woo to the space, that collector is a different animal than the artists waiting for them. As I mentioned earlier, artists are supporting artists now. That is what is giving birth to the space. But what will give longevity to the space is that the traditional art collector transitioning from the analog art world to the digital art world. And when that happens, and to encourage that happening, I believe all platforms should be building into their design a sort of like VIP component to the collector. There should be a landing page where collectors have their own unique profiles. They're collecting tastes, what they look for, what sort of art historical, movements are they interested, or those movements influencing this young digital artistic generation. Are they influenced by art brut? Are they influenced by, pop art? Like for instance, the site, the crypto punks, I've talked about this on several episodes. A lot of what's happening in the space right now, whether it's 3D Picasso, whether it's crypto punks, whether it's Bored Apes, you name it. We're talking about variations on theme in bright color schematics, and this is all pop art. So those are influences. Andy Warhol, I just think that the possibilities are endless for ingratiating your platform to the collector. Even if they're not quite here yet, they'll be coming. What does that look like? It looks like, again, a VIP room, a kind of profile adornment with, the statistical breakdown of their interests. So the collector feels like when they come in, they're just not, attaching a wallet, but they want the prestige of being a buyer. And I know that's not, much of a thing yet, but it will have to be a thing because the collector and the big time collectors of the world, there are magazine issues, Art News, Art in America. These magazines will dedicate an entire issue to the top 250 or the top 500 collectors globally. That's all to the analog art world, but we should think ahead to this NFT art space. And right now there's that, which is not being addressed by any platform. And there's also the art critic, which is not being addressed by any platform. Meaning that the art critic, which is so instrumental to historical significance, meaning the art critic in a traditional sense lends a sophisticated, educated opinion to why an artwork is valuable. So right now, as far as to my knowledge, there is no critical apparatus that is sort of generally focused on the NFT space. That's going to change also. And what does your interaction as a company, as a platform look like? And I'm speaking to your platform, but to all platforms. What does your company's platform look like? How are you going to ingratiate yourself to the art critic? Because I'll tell you what could be most beneficial to Twincie, or to any upstart platform is the attention, generous attention, meaningful attention of an analog art critic coming to the NFT space to sort of maybe do a survey of the space in writing about the ins and outs of what you're doing. And perhaps even bringing mention to particular artists within your space. Those artists within your space, do they have their identities, being elaborated on by Twincie? Are you doing feature artists? Are you taking the opportunity to feature an artist and exploring their life story, the history of their work, where they're coming from, where their vision for where they're going? These are all opportunities for an upstart company like Twincie and I'm telling you, frankly, that no platform at the moment is really engaging at that level. They're all sort of still in the marketplace, business first mentality, which, you're in that with a very large group of upstart companies. And I think what's going to separate, the top and the bottom by a wide gap is going to be attention to the artist profile, attention to the collector's profile, and attention to the critical apparatus. That's sort of like the 3 of the 4 legs of the chair in art history. So right now, the NFT market is not paying attention really, except for to the one leg of the chair, which is by facilitating artists the ability to make their own profile. But that's where it ends. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out there as well, because I feel like we're exploring mostly since the beginning of the show, you let in with you're looking for mentorship and guidance and, you know, a corporate big brother, you know, from the space. Well, I just wanted to, I love this as an opportunity to discuss opportunities.
Yes, I also agree with you. And I really appreciate the idea of the collectors landing page where collectors can get a vital role and they can see their role on the platform. We can definitely suggest that to the team and get that happen. And also the feature artist is something we're really proud of, because we really want to, we are really proud of our artists and we just want to feature them on the Twitter. And also we are making a another website, a separate one, just for posting stories, and it's like more about the artists and maybe the users in the platform also. But we are developing that, and it may be maybe it's too soon to talk about it. But I think your opinions are very, very important, and also very having a lot of influence to me right now, and I will definitely gonna tell the team about that one.
Excellent. I mean, I speak to all spaces all the time, and I really am here as coming from the analog market. So my background is in traditional arts, painter, conceptual artist, poet, etc. But I've moved into the NFT space without everything in me, and this is where I'm going to be my home moving forward. So I really want to help it evolve, and you know, I just want to bring my experience of, you know, several decades from that market, and with a sound background in art history, you know, and a lot of fascination and research I've done into the mechanisms of the traditional art market. I certainly have a lot of opinions, but they don't come with a grain of salt, because I do believe that it's safe for all of us to admit that the NFT art market is such in its infancy that it's dangerous to not slow down. It's dangerous to push it in a purely capitalistic sense without grounding it in the fundamental, in the foundational principles that go back thousands of years in the traditional art market. We're not talking about, you can't reinvent the wheel. That's one thing I'll say. I'm not saying that the NFT art market won't evolve and go in directions that the analog market never could. It already is, right? The fact that artists are liberated from a lot of that apparatus of power, and we're able to now take on our own projects, and we no longer have to slave for the middleman and give up wild percentages of our art sales to, you know, gallerists and art dealers. That's a plus for us, and that's something that would never happen in the analog art world, and is happening now in the digital art world. But the opportunities are seemingly endless, but so are the pitfalls. And I think that double-edged sword is really, really real. I don't want to see, and nor do the dozens, if not hundreds, of artists that I talk to now regularly, they're all terrified and are working toward the similar goal to hold up this space in a sort of community governance model that is what decentralized crypto-based economies are all about. That is kind of the modus operandi of crypto, which is community governance, right? Let's get rid of the middleman. Let's get rid of the overarching corporate and governmental apparatus, and let's build something special from the ground up and keep it in the hands of communities, right? So that's what everybody aims to do. But what I'm seeing a little bit too much right now, and what happened with Rarible and with OpenSea, and a lot of what happened with the sort of like first to the market platforms on the Ethereum network, is they blitzkrieg the heck out of the space with pure sort of like capitalistic greed, you know, and they kind of made the marketplace look like an Amazon or a Walmart, art just by the tens of thousands of pieces, flooding the market in hopes of being bought and then resold in an instant. Way ahead of itself. And I get that money grab. I get it. It was the great gold rush of, the last 6 months for sure, and really kicked off by the excitement around the Beeple Christie sale and several sales since then. Not to mention, the pat on the back from Bansky, coming into the NFT space with his little gimmick, and Damien Hirst announcing, one of the top 100 artists of living today, announcing he's going to be getting involved in the NFT world. So you're seeing it, but one of the reasons why 95% of the traditional art world, the top 100 artists, the top 1,000 artists, selling through primary and secondary markets today, the reason you're not seeing them come in is because of what isn't happening. There's no interest or no access, or there's no engagement by critics. There's no red carpet for collectors, and the idea of support for the unique identity of an artist and their project is lacking immensely still. So those are the sort of, to me, those are the principles that we have to look at first and foremost. And I love that Twincie is so young, and that you guys have the, John and I talk a lot about ourselves as a team in this space and doing what we do. And so we're trying to be as helpful as possible, to be as many places at once as possible. And the momentum that, for our project and our work together in this space is catching fire, and more projects are coming on board. And, every week we have episodes that are developing, but we are always telling ourselves to slow down, because it's important. It's a 6-month-old space, I mean, how old is Wall Street? How old is the traditional art market? How old are the gold markets? Even Bitcoin is considered, a baby, and it's 2011. So 10 years old, and it's still a baby. And here we are at 6 months, and everyone's just like, oh my God, what's happening? So yeah, definitely something to think about over there with the team. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation, because, it's good. Open dialogues, man. That's what this is all about. Like, this podcast is about opening dialogues that will hopefully help secure both the time and place, the historical moment for people to look back upon. There's our struggles in giving birth to this space in such a way that it lasts, but also to be a community of, your side of the coin, our side of the coin, the startups, the artists, the podcasters, the collectors, the hopefully art critics, and, traditional institutionalists. I mean, that a couple of weeks from now, I have an analog market museum curator that's going to be coming on. One of the United States, a national museum curator is going to come on and discuss, where I'm so looking forward to that conversation, because I want to have a conversation about what is in the mind of a museum curator right now, standing on the sidelines, having no budget to come in because the museum says, let's wait. And here we are. And I want to have that conversation with a museum curator. What is going through your mind right now about this wild west of a NFT art space? But let me pass the torch back over to you here for a minute, because I'm getting all fired up. So I don't want to consume all the time here.
Don't worry about it. I really love your idea. It's all like very insights ideas, and it would be really helpful to the platform as well as the audience out there.
April, I've got a few questions. You mentioned the token that's going to be given in the referral program is the Foxy token. That's FOXCI, is that right?
FOXCI, yeah, CI.
Same as like Twincie, right? I was just wondering, you explained the Twincie name, but the fox, what does that refer to?
Because the mascot for the Twincie, also for the stickers, like is the fox.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's why we got the foxy.
cool. And then you said right now there's no fees, so I guess it's hard to make money in that kind of environment. Sooner or later, you're going to have to charge a commission on the work sold. Is that the plan?
The plan is that when we have a certain trading and volume on the website, so it means everything is working better than it is now, maybe we will charge 2.5% of the service fee like other platform, but that will be a really far future because we don't have any plans for that currently now.
Okay, that's quite reasonable. Quite reasonable. Yeah, listening to you guys talk was great. We've talked in previous episodes, like there's different groups of people. There's analog artists and there's a digital people. But just listening to this conversation here, you got the startup people, the artists, the speculators, and if they don't, like we were saying, if there's not a lot of dialogue, it's really hard to make something awesome. But I'm sure as time goes by, everyone's ideas will get shared. It's great. You're going to have credit card payments on the site pretty soon too. Is that the plan?
Oh, also, yes, we are trying to make the Visa pay-in possible.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we are working on that.
Cool.
Going back to Foxy, so is this in place now? So if you sell a work on Twincie today, there'll be a reward in Foxy today?
Yes, so the people who use the referral code in our website, there will be, I think there is a blog site. So you can click on the blog and there will be article of how to earn Foxy token. And in the article, you will find a quick guide on how to earn the Foxy token. It means you need to use the referral code. And the one who referral, the referrer, and the one who get referral, they will do the trading on the platform. Like they buy someone else NFT and they got the Foxy token based on the amount of that trading. Like if they buy a lot of NFTs with a lot of Twincie token, then they got a lot of Foxy.
So now, is for those artists who have been on the site since day one, let's say, and their sales have accrued over time, are they receiving Foxy that's going back? Is it retrograde? Or, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Is it going to be, is it only referrals? Or I guess I'm confused by that.
Yeah. The Foxy token is for referral program. So the one who involves in the referral activity will get this token.
But not anybody prior to the referral program can earn it?
So if you are already in the platform, you can be the one who refer your friends to that and get the token.
Okay. Maybe it's something to consider would be, again, just thinking about the optics of that gesture. You have a couple of months now of artists doing good work on the platform and, buying and selling each other's work and whatnot, that I could imagine a lot of them would be thinking, well, how come I'm not getting this Foxy based on all of my contribution to date? That's just something to consider. I know a couple of other platforms that have gone the route that you are going with the Foxy, and that is what they did for their community. It was retrograde back to the beginning of testnet, and so all of the income that had, all the transactional income that was spent or through art sales and art collection, they were rewarded retrograde in the native token of reward. Just a gesture, because I would question the optics of starting with the referral program, only because the referral program was made possible by the risk taking of all of the early adopters who came in and did what they could to help out Twincie.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I will definitely get this back to the team.
Yeah, just run it past them. I mean, a lot of the other platforms have done it that way, and it's a great effect. And it seems like just the idea of starting with referrals, meaning all new people will reap the reward of Foxy, and sort of the pioneers are left out, doesn't make any sense to me. But just throwing that out there.
I see. Because sometimes, like, not right now, but in like several months, so we do the retroactive airdrop for the one who has contributed to the community. So we did it once before for the early adopter of the platform, and we will have one in the future. We have the budget for that, and for the one who actively active on the platform, we will have a certain percent of token for the airdrop for that.
Oh, good. Yeah. Another question. So are there any functional dev updates for sort of like interactivity with the site that are in the near term we're going to see? I know you mentioned the social marketplace element, but with regards to the sort of minting application side, is there anything we need to know?
The social would be something to look forward to. We are also upgrading the UX and UI user interface of the platform to make it look more beautiful and more attractive to users. We are working on that. But for the social feature, it would look so good. I just take a peek already, and maybe I can send it to you to take a look at it. And for each artist at that time, we will have a market cap for them. So it's like the number of likes they receive. It's just like that, and it shows how popular the artist is, and also we hope that will drive the artist to achieve more.
Oh, that is exciting. That's very exciting. Now, what about here? A couple of things that I always think that every site should offer as tools. One of them is the burn function. Do you currently have a burn function?
Oh yes, we are having that one.
Okay, good. And the ability to so like right now I'm participating in a NFT collaborative project that's going to launch on Foundation, and it's made up of 54 different artists, myself included, that are producing. Each artist is producing the artwork for one card in a deck of cards, and it's the deck project. Let's just call it the deck project. Now, these are some of the top artists in the space that are involved in this. It's very exciting. Currently, there is only one platform that I know of that enables a project like that to set it up so that the distribution of sale would happen in an automatic way, and that is Foundation. So you can set up a multi-user wallet within Foundation for specifically a collaborative project where all 54 artists are signed into the wallet and are with the sale, the division by 54 happens automatically. So just something to know. That is something that I think is going to be increasingly needed in the space, and that right now there is very few, as far as I know, only one option, and that is Foundation. So sort of there's that. Then another thing that I haven't seen anywhere that I'd like to encourage everybody to consider. In the traditional art market, the idea of a diptych or a triptych, and that is a set of 2 or 3. Typically, not many artists do what they would call a polyptych or a quadriptych, a pentaptych, 4, 5 panels in a single work, right? So the intention of the artist is to, in a gallery, I would hang up these 3 paintings side by side in such a way they would be sold as one unit. And it's actually harkens back to early religious art, especially in Christianity. the sacred number 3, you see the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit sort of gave birth to a wide use of the concept of the triptych. That is not really facilitated on any platform yet. I think it should be facilitated on every platform, that I am able to click polyptych as a minting option, and then mint the 2 or 3 works into a set and set that for sale as a set with one single price. And that is something that I think is a great opportunity for everybody to get behind as a functional aspect of your space. And it's not really something anybody's doing yet. Not even not even what people consider to be the top spaces like Super Rare, Foundation, whatnot. I mean, I suppose they could design as they go per the needs of their artists, because they only handle, a handful of artists at a time. But I would love to see some of the larger market spaces, add some of this, some of these sort of nuances to the minting application.
I see. In the platform, we actually have the collectible for multiple when minting already. It's just released for maybe, 2 or 3 weeks. And we enable artists to put their NFT in a collectible, that if the NFT is belonging to one theme, it's like the number 3 of you just mentioned in the bio thing. So we have that, but for the selling, we still sell it separately. The artists still sell it separately. But that's a nice thing to consider, to maybe the artists can put them in a combo or like in a package, and then they can sell it all together.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of artists, myself included, who create diptychs and triptychs quite often. Working on variations on a theme or a series around an event. You're trying to cover multiple angles around a particular message or whatever. Your dialogue is multifaceted. Sometimes you need more than one panel to really cover it, across a work. And so one work becomes 3 that are sort of interwoven, and then that's not something that you're willing to separate. And so I don't typically mint those works now, because when I do, they end up in different buyers' hands, and that's not my intention. My intention is always for a diptych or a triptych to end up with one collector. And so I'll manage that through private sales. And to me, that defeats the purpose of NFT. I like for the private sales to be public. That's all I wanted to bring that up.
I see. That's a very good idea, actually. I will actually going to propose this to the team, if we can add that. So artists can choose whether to sell their artwork separately or maybe put them in the combo, and the collector will, if they want, they can buy the whole thing.
Yes, that to be able to buy as a set would open up to an important traditional
like collection.
Collection, right? Actually, let me ask you a question. How many, or if any, persons working on your team have an art background, or have any history working in the arts, or collecting art, making art, etc.? Or are they mostly coming from tech and business?
So the design team is having the art background for sure, but they are not participating much on the platform as selling. But we also cooperating with some artists like Referral. He is on the platform, and he will do some kind of cards for us. I don't know if I should say this on the podcast. But yeah, we are cooperating with some artists, and they're helping us a lot, and as well as like doing the products, as well as contributing ideas and things like that from the inside view of the artist. We also have like the ambassador program for new artists that I said, and they also have a group, private group for them to exchange with each other and contribute ideas. And some of them have really good ideas and for events, and it's going to be launched very soon.
Oh, good. That's exciting. Now, do you find that you're mainly appealing at the moment to like the Asia Peninsula, or are you working aggressively to market in the West as well?
So as you can see, we are still young and a startup company, and we're just trying to put everything together and grow gradually. But the NFT recent time has been on the train because of the Binance release its NFT platform, the news. The Binance released its NFT platform, and we also got some events and some partners helping us in the past recently, and that's why we got like just several months, but we got a lot of attention and a lot of users, but mostly artists, as you can see. And we are trying to get more collectors and develop so the artists can actually sell their products.
Might be interesting to open up a kind of literary sort of critical blog and post writing about the artworks of your feature artists, kind of bring on board a little bit of more art historical perspective. Again, like the collector is wooed, in the traditional collector I'm referring to here, is really wooed by academic sort of fundamentals. There's a lack of that in the space right now. And I don't think that's not the fault of any particular platform. But there's just, you think about all of the sort of intellectual capacity in the art world is for thousands of years been dedicated to the traditional art market. All of those critical people have careers in a market that is not NFT. So now is the time to start to encourage and to bring in and develop, and it's okay if it's in its infancy, and you're working with lesser talent because they're young, young writers you can literally reach out at this right now, today, tomorrow, next week. You can reach out to art history programs at university, at artist university schools, and say, hey, let me offer an internship to your art history students, your PhD, the art writer who's in pursuit of a PhD and is probably not going to be employable in the traditional market, because it's gobbled up by about 24, Pulitzer Prize winning critics, and there's no room for anybody else. You're talking about, the New York Post, the New York Times, the New Yorker. So, you might have 1,000 aspiring art writers for every one art writer that has a job, and the other 1,000 art writers are there for your taking. And I would like to invite you and any other art NFT platform that's listening to this podcast to reach out to the university art programs in art criticism and try to drum up participation in a blog space on your platform, to do writing about Twincie's artists, to do writing about Twincie's vision. This would go a long way into validating the next generation of young digital artists, being written about by art historically sensitive minds, and where they can position them in an art historical perspective. And that's something that has to happen. And I'm going to be encouraging every platform to do this.
Yeah, that's a good idea for contacting them and then make the platform more, getting more exposure, and also for the traditional people to get to know it.
Well, and to have writing, because writing is like the benchmark of dialogue, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people can get dialogue out of writing, but they don't get the dialogue per se out of just pictures.
Yeah, I see that. We also trying to maybe, as I talked about the website that we are building, and then we will have stories and backgrounds of the artists there, more than just like feature artists at the Twitter.
Good, very good.
If we're just spitballing ideas, I have one, just something that came to mind. I've been to Singapore a couple of times. There's lots of shopping malls, and maybe you can answer this too, Henry. So, have you heard of any platforms setting up like a pop-up gallery in a real gallery or in a shopping mall where people walking by can kind of come in and see what NFTs are, like on big flat panel TV screens? Has anyone done that yet? I think there's some opportunity because people still can't really figure out, speaking to some of my friends, they know NFT, but they don't know what it is. And I was wondering if you've heard of anyone try to, have some sort of pop-up gallery showing NFTs, and have you heard anything like that?
I know for a fact that it has happened a couple of times in New York City. There's little things, but they're very isolated. And I also heard about something like that happening in Berlin and in Moscow. Again, you're going to see it in like the most progressive cities. You're going to have these like little sort of almost like speakeasy kind of events where, you got to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody to hear about it. I don't think anything with mass appeal has happened yet. Nothing's gone viral yet, but that's definitely all coming. And, that's what we call like, guerrilla marketing. A pop-up falls into that whole concept of guerrilla marketing, which is, street level marketing. Is more grassroots oriented, and that should and will happen. Again, I just think it's more about how spread out, because this is digital platform, and these artists are like, you and I are working as a team, and we're across the world from each other. That's part of the problem. A pop-up means it's happening someplace, and to happen someplace, you need a congregation of like-minded people. Right now, the groups of like-minded people are spread all around the world. And that's why you only really see them happening in major cities, like probably is even happening in Tokyo, but has happened in New York, Berlin, Moscow, etc. Because you have a greater chance that you're going to have 10 or 20 or 50 people that have a clue what NFT is. I can promise you, in upstate New York, I would be lucky to find 50 people in upstate New York that have a clue about what NFT is.
Yeah, but if you put something in the mall, sometimes they wheel some cars and they want to sell cars. They get that in the mall one weekend. People are walking by. I think there might be something to that. It's worth a try.
Think of how inexpensive a gallery space would be like that. A pop-up with, all you got to do is invest in 25 flat screens, and you could take your pop-up on the road and throw it up for 3 days and hit 25 different locations.
And you market it as the first time in that city, people are going to be talking about it. It'd be great.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. To see if we could get an investor to do something like that in New York. Hey, we're on the phone with one. There you go. Twincie, you want to have a pop-up? Talk to your team about having a pop-up in New York City. I'll execute it for you. We'll get 25.
Oh, that's so lovely. Yeah, that's a lovely suggestion.
Yeah, we could do 50 flat screens in a big empty space for a week. And, basically those flat screens will have NFT artworks on them that are represented by Twincie, and people walk in and we can explain Twincie, explain the artwork, etc. Just something to throw out there. But yeah, that does need to happen, and that's just yet another thing that can happen. Great idea, John.
For sure, I can propose this to the team too. Maybe in the future, when the pandemic gets better, and we also get the help from Henry here. That's so nice.
I'm looking forward to being as helpful as I can.
Oh, speaking of the physical gallery, we are also having an idea of the jacket or the top. So we are launching a lot of events where a user can buy the Lucky Card, NFT card, on our platform and get the Lucky Card that has some twin, like 60 twin, which is $200 for the Lucky Card. It's like the lottery ticket. So we issue like 10 cards, and only 1 or 2 has the has the reward. And we're thinking about shifting it to like physical reward. So if the user buy the Lucky NFT, they get the gift code. So we will ship them a real jacket of that. And there is one artist is on our platform designing a stunning, a beautiful jacket of Twincie, and we got that idea, and maybe we'll collaborate with him or maybe many other artists to work on this into distributing the physical gifts to the users who buy that NFT.
Well, and you could translate that also into making it functional store available to open within the profile pages of all your artists that sign up at Twincie. So for instance, if I wanted to go into my profile right now and open up a store, I can. And by opening up that store, I would then be able to put my own artwork, say printed on t-shirts, postcards, you name it, and sell images, prints, etc. So you have the NFT, which is an intangible, immaterial, sort of phenomenon, but then you could have more traditional marketable products that I would be able to then market myself through my site on Twincie. And that would be a direction to think about too. Also, another idea for you, for all NFT markets, there's a lack of collecting support from the platforms themselves. And I understand that may sound unusual, but by that I mean you are in a position as the corporate entity through the concept of a corporate gallery to collect and therefore substantiate the secondary market value growth of those particular works. So I would just also encourage you to consider and to run it past the team a regular weekly or monthly acquisition of work from artists on the site that goes into a corporate Twincie gallery, and that is then sold off as corporate market gallery, secondary market gallery auctions. So this would be happening from the corporate angle, so that your artists, they'll be excited and feel motivated to be on the site and potentially gain the favor of an acquisition into the corporate gallery. That adds a bit of excitement, and then also it's a way for them to earn a little bit of money, which is always good. It'll bring also more favor to them for Twincie as far as loyalty. And then finally, that you're substantiating the secondary market, because you already come with a bit of a built-in clout, being the platform itself. So your curatorial decision to acquire a work from one of your artists would be viewed as legitimizing of that artist and make their work more valuable in the secondary market. And that way you're jump starting the secondary market. So I'll just throw that out as another idea as well.
I see. Thank you for that one.
You're welcome.
We will definitely, look into that one.
Also new and exciting, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just, we take it one day at a time, April. We just got to keep these dialogues open and keep, we'll have you back on here whenever you feel you have more to share or more to talk about.
For sure.
I wanted to open the table here for you if you have anything you wanted to talk about that we haven't touched on yet.
So I think we already got a lot of information going on about the NFT world and about our platform. It's our pleasure to be able to talk to you. Actually, I've seen you since the very early days, and I've seen your beautiful works, and I really hope that artists like you, we do hope that artists like you and everyone in the platform and everyone out there will got a better chance for exposure and just a better condition and work for artists in general.
Well, we appreciate it. We do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really appreciate that you have me here today and talk to me for, I don't know, I take about 1.5 hours from you guys.
It was worth it. We really want to give all these different platforms a chance to talk about their space. And again, we really see what we're doing here at Ars Cryptotica as documenting the birth and growth of the whole movement. So, you're part of that. You're an important part of that. And, we're really proud and thankful to have you on our show today. And then we look forward to having you.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah. We'll say hello to everybody for us and we'll be in touch. John, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, it was great. Thanks so much, April. I hope we can have another one of these before long.
Yeah. Well, anyway, on that lovely note, let's say goodnight for you and good morning for me. And we'll have a lovely day. We'll meet back here soon.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for having me today. And yeah, good night to John and have a nice day, Henry.
I appreciate it. Good night. Goodbye, April.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.